Hey, Steve here, and in this video I'm going to show you how to create and save selections in Photoshop so that you only have to create them once but then can reuse them time after time, so it's a real time saver. Now if you're new to my channel and you want to check out my other Photoshop videos, then please feel free to do so and hit the subscribe button so that you're updated each time I publish a new video. And if you like this video, then please do give it a like, because then I'll know which kind of videos people like seeing so I can keep making more. So let's jump straight into the tutorial. So for this example, I'm just going to use the quick selection tool for the purpose of creating the selections, but this technique actually applies for whatever selection method you're using, whether you're creating luminosity selections or just basic selections with the marquee tools or anything in between. The way that I'm creating these selections doesn't necessarily matter, it's just what I'm going to do with them afterwards. So the objective here is to create a selection for each of these three cannons. So I'll do that first. Now I'm just going to do a quick rough selection. So this isn't a tutorial about the finer points of the quick selection tool. But yeah, I'm just going to sort of show you enough to get the gist of what's happening. So I'm just creating my first selection here. Just making sure I've got all the edges covered in this cannon. So with that selection created for the first cannon, the way that I'm going to save this is just in the channels panel. So over here on the right hand side, I've got the channels panel. Now if you haven't got that, you can just go to the window and then channels menu item and it'll pop up. And in the channels panel, you'll see just down in the bottom right here, there's a button that says save as selection, or save selection as channel rather. So I'm going to click that. And when I do, you'll see Alpha 1 is created, the Alpha 1 channel. So now if I click on the Alpha 1 channel, what we see is a black and white channel where everything that's selected, i.e. the cannon, is white, everything else is black. So let's just double click this to rename it to just 1. Okay, so that's the first cannon done. Let's come back. I'm going to click on the RGB channel. Now back over into layers. I'm going to deselect on the keyboard, Command or Control D. And now I might zoom in a bit for this second and third cannon. So again, just with the quick selection tool, just roughly going to select the cannon, and then Option or Alt on the keyboard here is just going to turn that from a plus into a minus. So we're subtracting the bit where it kind of went over the edge. And okay, that looks okay for the second cannon. So let's again come over into channels, hit save selection as channel, and then let's just name this 2. Back over into RGB and then layers, deselect the active selection there, and let's create the selection for cannon number 3. So this is going to need a bit more fine tuning by the looks of it, because it's grabbed some of this person over here. So again, let's on the keyboard hold Alt or Option and then just drag the mouse around here to remove that part from the selection. Okay, that's getting there. Maybe just see if we can tidy this little corner up here. Okay, that's good enough for this demo. Actually, let's just get the front bit of the cannon there. Right, so let's zoom out and let's now save this selection as another channel. So let's call that 3. So we've got cannon 1, cannon 2, and cannon 3. Now, the cool thing about doing it this way is that now we can load any one of these individually as a selection to then use them as we want in the layers panel, like for example in a layer mask. Or we can also add these together. So let's say we wanted to create a selection that combines all 3 now. All we need to do is load the first one as a selection. So we're going to press Command or Control on the keyboard and click on the first one, and that loads it as a selection. So we can see the marching ants have appeared again. Now we'll do the same thing for number 2, but instead of just Command or Control click, we're going to hold Command with Shift or Control and Shift. And so now you see the mouse cursor turns into that plus symbol. So that's going to add that one to the selection. And then if we do the same thing Command Shift or Control Shift, click on number 3. That's going to add that to the selection, number 3. And now with all 3 selected, we can actually just create a 4th channel by hitting Save Selection as Channel. And that's got all 3 in it. And you can create any kind of combination you want of these selections, and 1 and 3, 2 and 3, whatnot. And once you've created your channel and then you reload that channel as a selection by pressing Command or Control and just clicking on the channel, then you can come back into your layers panel with the selection active. For example, you can add a curves adjustment layer, and because the selection is active at the time that the curves adjustment layer was added, then it's loaded directly into the layer mask of that curves adjustment, which means now we can adjust these cannons separately to everything else in the image. So darkening it and brightening it. Now this example, I'm just sort of pushing the boundaries here to show you actually the way it's working. You're probably going to want to fine tune your adjustments a little bit more than this, but here really this is just to demonstrate the idea and the concept. So likewise, if let's get rid of this again, and if we wanted to, for some reason, edit only Canon 1 and 2, we don't have to actually create that 4th channel that combines all 3. What we can do is just Command click on number 1, and then Command Shift or Control Shift, and then click on number 2. And as long as you can see the marching ants over here doing what we're doing, then you'll know that each one of those 2 cannons has been, the selection has been loaded, and then you can come back into the layers panel again and do the same thing. So curves adjustment or any other adjustment layer, and you can, for example, darken these 2 independently of everything else. So what I'm actually showing here with the actual edits and the adjustment layers, that goes beyond the scope of this tutorial. What this is all about is loading and saving the selections so that you can then use them in any way that you want in the layers panel when you're editing your images. So if you found this video useful and you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, then there should be an icon on the screen right now that you can click to subscribe, and then you'll be ready to watch the next video, which should also be on the screen right now.